I mean, he ain't lying. You know, I played video games my whole life. I'm not like, hey, let me pick the Utah Jazz. Let me pick Karl Malone, or I want to rock out and be John Stockton. I was always like, I want to be Isaiah Thomas. I want to be Michael Jordan. You know what I mean? Like, I'd rather be Larry Bird. Like, let me be Larry. Let me play in Boston. Never for once in my mind did I go to Utah. But don't get that twisted. That's BS, man, to a degree. The fact that the best team, the two best players in the best team get drafted last, if there's anything that will add to the motivation of the Utah Jazz, especially the way they lost to the 76ers the night before, bad calls by the refs, the fact that people don't respect how good of a team the Utah Jazz are. You talk about the Draymond video that Juwan Howard used to motivate Michigan. There's a litany of things that are now going to be used to motivate the Utah Jazz.
Yeah, I get what LeBron said. There's no question. That's why they all just fell out laughing, because it's true. I mean, it's Utah, man. Nobody ain't feeling Utah like that. And I understand, but what does the city have to do with the two players, right? I mean, that's what people like. Well, the two players deserve to be picked, but they was picked at the bottom as reserves, at the bottom. Very easily could have been somebody. If LeBron then wanted to pick somebody else, they could have very easily just said, we're going to pick these two dudes instead. But they picked them. But it goes back. It's just like, don't throw your computer at me, JWill, for what I'm about to say.
It's all right.
It's just like Duke. We don't really rock with Duke like that.
The
Great
Utah
players.
Jazz are like Duke?
Yeah, man, great winning, the whole deal. But when we was young, we was feeling Michigan in the Fab Five. We wasn't feeling no Kristen Batener.
I felt Georgetown. I felt Georgetown. Georgetown was my squad.
Georgetown.
AI, Victor Pay, all those guys. Yes.
That's the way we looked at it growing up. And that's the same way that LeBron and them were looking at the Utah Jazz. It's like, it's Utah, man. That's just the way it is.
It does make it interesting, though, when people say, where you play doesn't matter. You know how people used to say that and try to use that argument when it comes to name recognition? It's like almost, I love Portland. Portland's a dope place.
Yeah.
But that's why Dame will never get the recognition.
Because it's Portland.
Because he's in Portland.
Yeah.
And as much as fans in Portland try to say, well, that's not really the case. Any team, look at what's happening with Zion. Well, Zion's different because Zion's a sport. I mean, and Dame is still getting a lot of love because he closes out games at a different rep. But also, imagine if Dame was in L.A. Imagine if Dame was in New York. Yeah. Imagine if Dame was in Chicago. We'd be talking about Dame every day. Every day.
Zion is the flavor of the month because you're waiting for a dunk, and remember, he blew out the shoe. So he comes into the league with some stuff following him.
Already built into social media.
Yeah, already built into the social media. So, if the Pelicans can win games, then they'll continue to talk about it.
Dame had 44 last night. He had 44. And we come into our meetings, and we've been around a lot of other meetings in media. You're not going to see media lead with that. Hey, it's like, well, what's happened with LeBron? What's happened with Giannis? What's happened to the All-Star game? Like all these other things. It just, smaller markets, it becomes challenging for them at times.
I would just say two things. One, Portland is a top 5 fan base, there's no doubt. And it's a small consolation. But if he goes down as the best player in that franchise's history, he'll be beloved to a level that few players can because that fan base is unbelievably on board. Second thing, by the way, circle these two dates. Both of these games are on ESPN. Oh, that's great. Saturday, April 17th, Jazz at Lakers.
Oh, we'll be covering that. Countdown.
Monday, just 2 days later, Jazz at Lakers again. That'll be 10 Eastern on ESPN. So just file away this draft snub for April 17th.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus right now.